I'll let Joe just gave me a thumbs up. Will we now be joined led by the Seaman students who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, thank you for everyone being here. I'm gonna let my friends introduce themselves real fast.
I'm Lexi Wayne, Sarah Goto, Nora Salhab, Odo Ma, Max Liang,
Matthew Ascasani. Good evening.
Today is Thursday, November 20th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated.
If you don't mind, we're also gonna let our friends lead us as we would in the regular morning announcements.
Let's take a few moments to do our peaceful breathing.
Oh, I thought you were doing morning announcements. We're going to get to them in 2 seconds. Thanks. Thank you to those of you joining us in person here at the Ratner Seaman School and those watching on YouTube live or on tape delay. I hope the Seaman parents in the audience enjoyed curriculum night, and I want to give a special thanks or hello to all the Seaman teachers here this evening. As most of you I'm sure already know, this is American Education Week, where we celebrate public education and honor the individuals who make a difference in schools. We thank all of you. Specifically, today is the 20th is Future Teachers of America Day, where we encourage students to pursue educational careers and we honor all those in the profession. I want to thank our faculty and administrators who are all once future teachers, and we wish the best of luck to all those currently studying to be teachers, as we might need you here one day in Jericho. I'd like to point out that our district does its part in originating new teachers. We have our early childhood 2-semester class taught by the amazing Mrs. Rogovich, where our high school students, among many other things, get elementary classroom exposure and experience. A great opportunity for those considering careers in K through 12 education. A couple of quick items before we move on to our great Seaman students. Both our high school and middle school will be closed next week, Wednesday through Friday, the 26th through the 28th. However, our elementary school students will have school on Wednesday the 26th, and all your teachers are looking forward to full houses that day. One final item. Actually, we'll get to that later. Why don't we turn it over? We are fortunate tonight to be here at the Ratner Seaman School and to get an update on all the exciting things that are going there. Mrs. Kletter has picked out 6, one even half dozen of her favorite students to tell us all about the exciting things they're doing here. So I now introduce Mrs. Kletter, who's now been our principal for this is her 5th year here in Jericho.
So when we were thinking about this evening, at first we were thinking about trying to lead it somewhat like what our morning meetings are like at school. So there's a morning meeting in every classroom every day, but once a month we've been coming together as a school for a school-wide morning meeting. And the part of that starts with that pledge. So tomorrow we have another morning meeting as a whole school, and it's for our career day. You're all invited. Feel free to stop on by. But we would have also included our school song. We're going to skip that for now. Yeah, my voice is a little off, So we're going to keep on going. We just did our announcements with you. And now I'm going to invite my friends over just to talk about a few of the goals that we have for our school this year. So my friends who are presenting with us are peer leaders or our site-based members. But I'm going to invite up Max and Arthur, and they're going to talk about our first goal that we have up here for our school this year. And the goal is to nurture a stronger sense of belonging and connectedness among students, staff, and families through responsive classroom practices like morning meeting and beyond.
In our 5th grade class, we have developed a classroom charter. The classroom charter focuses on how we want to feel when we are in our class, what we need to do in order to maintain those feelings, and how to address conflicts as they arrive. The classroom charter is a promise to be the best that we can be in order to make our classroom safe and accepting for everyone.
Each day begins with a morning meeting. Our class comes together to identify their feelings. We use a tool called a mood meter. Identifying our feelings helps us to build empathy, to understand each other's lives, and help us to feel connected.
Thank you to Max and Arthur. Our next goal is to cultivate a culture of digital wellness that prioritizes the intentional use of technology and reduces non-academic screen time to promote deeper learning, foster stronger in-person social connections, and support the overall mental and physical well-being of our students. Sarah and Lexi, come on up.
This year, the use of technology is allowed in school to do schoolwork. We use technology to learn and have stopped using technology during non-academic times like indoor recess. This is a big change from last year, and there are many positive benefits.
Some of the benefits to limited technology during indoor recess is that the students started playing with other students. They are playing with people they may not have been friends with before. The students are having fun talking to each other and playing board games. I am a big fan of Guess Who and Uno.
How many Uno fans are out there? Let's give a round of applause for Sarah and Lexi. The next goal we wanted to highlight was to utilize interdisciplinary learning practices to support students in developing meaningful connections across subject areas, to foster critical thinking, creativity, and problem-solving abilities, and to nourish a deeper, more applicable understanding of our world. Matthew, come on over.
Good evening, parents, students, and teachers. I had the pleasure of describing interdisciplinary learning. Interdisciplinary learning is when our instruction brings together 2 or more subjects. For example, in 5th grade, we completed a project focused on environmental issues. We focused on 3 raging issues: acid rain, deforestation, and water scarcity. Our goal was to create an emotional ad to persuade people into donating to a cause that will help stop or reduce the amount of damage we do to our planet. This required us to integrate science, research, art, mathematics, reading, and writing. When my group and I completed our project, I felt accomplished. I learned far more from this experience than just some handouts. I learned the importance of teamwork. I learned that working together is key to success.
All right, and we have one more goal that we want to highlight for you, and this goal is to incorporate a variety of strategies for increasing student engagement, leading to student mastery of content articulated by daily learning targets and established success criteria. Nora, come on over.
Many teachers use different tools to help students engage in learning. For example, we use Turn and Talk, gallery walks, and learning targets. In Turn and Talk, each partner shares their thoughts and ideas with other people. Sometimes we speak with the person next to us, and sometimes we move around the room, speaking with several different students. In a gallery walk, we move around the room the way you would in our gallery. Students discuss responses to various questions with peers throughout the classroom. Learning targets are a way to tell students what they will be learning during a period or across the week. They help us maintain our focus and monitor our learning. All of these tools are fun and helpful for students to engage in memorable learning.
All right, so we just wanted to highlight a little of that for you today. Before we wrap up, I do want to thank all of our teachers and staff who are here and all of them who work so hard, not only for curriculum night, but every day in the classroom. The work our students do is meaningful, it's memorable, and we're very proud of our teachers, our staff, and all of our kids. So if we can give them a round of applause. We will just end our portion of this evening the same way we end morning announcements, which is be your best self and don't forget to fill someone's bucket today. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Principal Klenner and all of her wonderful students. I love that our students are going to stay for a little longer, which means their parents will stay a little bit longer. Usually, it's the middle school representatives who set the bar, but today it was our Seaman students setting the bar. But now, for our middle school report, I would love to invite up Yash Dovjani and Brooke Rand to give us an update on what's going on in the middle school.
Hello, my name is Brooke Rand. Oh, do I have to take it off? Oh, okay. And just push the switch up. Oh, got it from me, that's okay. Hello, my name is Brooke Rand. And I'm Yoshi Downing. We are 8th grade student council representatives. It is a pleasure to be here this evening.
We would like to begin by sharing that the middle school Winter 1 sports season began on Monday, November 3rd. While our middle school does not have a bobsled team, we do have many other teams such as winter track, swimming, boys basketball, girls volleyball, and play on.
On Wednesday, November 12th, the middle school and high school quarterly grades were posted online and the portal was open to parents.
Someone once said, where words fail, music speaks. So true. On Tuesday, November 18th, the middle school orchestra and the choral concert delighted audience members at their 7:30 performance in the auditorium.
On Friday, November 14th, in the lobby, we had the middle school yearbook retake portrait.
Are you aware that we have rap artists in our building? Well, we have nearly 300 of them. In ELA, 8th grade students had the opportunity to cross-team with peers to choose a verse novel to read, write a rap poem about it, put the poem to music, and rap it in a music video. Guest presenter Cousin Raj visited our school to excite students about performance poetry and hearing freestyle rapped for students. Yo, it was fire.
What do you think of when you hear revolution, reaction, and reform? Well, we will soon discover what middle school students think of as this year's theme for Jericho History Day. 7th and 8th grade students have officially embarked on their History Day journey. With guidance from our social studies teachers and our librarian, Ms. Conklin, students will learn to find valuable resources, take notes, and begin creating their original projects.
Now, not only can Shrek teach us valuable lessons, such as inner beauty is more valuable than outer beauty, but this green org is also guaranteed to entertain. We are so excited about the upcoming performances of Shrek Jr. on Thursday, December 4th at 2:10, which is also a popular time for middle school student attendance, and 6 p.m., and Friday, December 5th at 7 p.m.
The pre-sale tickets are now on sale for families of the cast and middle school staff. Take advantage of the pre-sale to guarantee a seat at your preferred performance. Tickets go on sale to the general public later this week.
Please look for an email from Mr. Gleason to provide you with the online website to purchase tickets for the play. Tickets will also be sold in school by members of the cast and crew.
Now I'm sure many students are upset about this next announcement, and here it comes. Students will have no school on Wednesday, November 26th through Friday, November 28th. There will, however, be parent-teacher conferences on Tuesday, November 25th from 3 to 5 p.m. and 7 to 9 p.m. and Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. by appointment only.
Lastly, November is not just a time to eat turkey, but also a time to show thanks. We would like to share about what the Student Council is thankful for. It is all the amazing teachers and students in our school, of course. That is why the Student Council students will be decorating all classroom doors with leaves containing each teacher and student's name.
This Friday's Nest focuses on gratitude. In their Nest circles, students will be contemplating the spirit of giving thanks.
Additionally, community service learning classes will be distributing gratitude grams to all students next week to reinforce how important they are to our school community. They will also be joining forces with the PTA to begin a food drive for Long Island Cares beginning the week after Thanksgiving.
So thank you for giving us your attention and time. We wish you a healthy, happy, and restful Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Devjani and Ms. Rand. Now for the high school update, could we please get Dev Lakhani and Emma Zhu?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Emma Zhu, Student Council Co-President. Our crowd's a little larger tonight, but that's okay.
I'm Dev Lakhani, the other co-president, and we're excited to share what's been happening at Jericho this November.
To start off, we're proud of our high school orchestra and chorus musicians who opened the winter concert season on November 12th with a great performance.
We'd also like to share congratulations to the Art Honor Society for partnering with SEPTA to host a successful Cookies and Canvas event on November 17th. Thank you for all the students and families who participated. We also want to wish the cast and crew of the high school drama production Alice in the Wonderland the best of luck as they take the stage from November 20th to the 22nd. Tickets are available online and at the door.
Moving on to athletics, the fall season has officially wrapped up, and Jericho athletes had an outstanding show. This included 17 all-county athletes, 24 all-conference athletes, and 8 all-county honorable mention athletes. 10 all-division athletes, 1 defensive player of the year, 2 Nassau County champion teams in boys badminton and girls swimming, and 1 division champion in girls swimming and diving. That's certainly a lot of awards.
We want to highlight the girls swimming and diving. Props to Cynthia as well, who's part of the team. Heading to the state championships this weekend in Webster, New York. Congratulations to Mia Shu, Joanna Juan, Lily Liang, Cherry Lee, Yuna Lee, Yuri Shiloko, and Emma Tien. Winter tryouts are on the way for the boys, and we're excited for the season ahead.
And the girls. Jericho is also proud to host the Nassau County Unified Youth Summit again this year. In collaboration with Jericho Athletics, Special Olympics New York, and New York Unified Sports, 16 schools and more than 200 students will be on campus promoting inclusion and leadership.
Looking ahead, the high school fashion show will take place on December 6th, and all proceeds will go to Cohen Children's Hospital. Tickets are now available in Dr. Finley's office.
As well as our district-wide toy drive. It's underway and will run through December 8th. New unwrapped toys can be dropped off in collection boxes throughout the school.
And the PTA is preparing its annual Thanksgiving fundraiser. We appreciate their continued support for families during the holiday season.
Next, we want to share the highlights from the science department. Since the last Board of Education meeting, the third floor experienced an unusually spooky Halloween ostrich infestation, which made for a fun and memorable moment for teachers and students.
We also had a huge showing at Astronomy Night on November 3rd. With clear skies and the Astronomical Society of Long Island setting up telescopes, students were able to see craters and mountains on the waxing gibbous moon, Saturn and its moon Titan, a meteor shower, and even Europe's Ariane 6 rocket passing through the field of view. National Honor Society volunteers helped distribute glow sticks and hot chocolate.
I could really go for some hot chocolate right now. Our Science Olympiad team had a busy month, hosting their first virtual competition and attending the Cornell University event this past weekend. They brought home awards and for the first time ever earned an invitation to compete at the MIT Invitational.
In research, 33 students completed the Regeneron STS submissions by 8 p.m. at the last board meeting. This reflects 2 to 3 years of dedicated work when they compete to be among 300 national scholars. In addition, What We Grew Up group received finalist prizes in the Global 30-Day Green Challenge. And junior Isabel Dion will be traveling to San Diego next week to represent the team with a fully expenses-covered trip.
We also want to congratulate junior Armand Dewal, who won first place from the American Association of Physicians of India Origin for his work on a novel therapy for a progressive eye disease. The fall 2025 issue of the Columbia Undergraduate Journal featured 6 Jericho students out of 14 total publications.
9 students were invited to present their projects at the Association of Chinese American Physicians Award Ceremony, earning over $2,000 in student awards and an additional $2,000 for the Jericho Science Research Program. 3 students were also invited to participate in the finalist summit for Grow New York in Canandaigua for their Bio Islands work.
Good try, Deb. And from agribusiness, Jericho students attended a food and agriculture startup competition at Cornell through Grow New York last weekend, continuing our expansion into real-world agriculture and sustainability innovation.
Finally, we're getting ready for this year's Family Night, which will be taking place on February 5th. This tradition gives students and families a night to relax and spend time together without assignments.
It's been a busy and successful month across the district per usual.
That concludes our report, and thank you so much for your time. Have a great night.
Clearly, our middle school and high schools are going strong into the Thanksgiving break. Next up, for our Parent-Teacher Student Association update, can we please have Ms. Pratici Goenka?
Good evening, everyone. Awesome updates by our middle school and high school, and great presentation by our curriculum night, Ratner Siemens students. Good evening, Dr. Kravitz, members of the Board of Ed, Central Administration, faculty, staff, and community members. My name is Pratici Goenka. I'm Vice President of the Jericho Joint PTA Council, and I'm really excited to share updates that the PTA has been up to this month. So our PTA Council has been very active this fall. At our recent monthly PTA Council meeting, we had the honor of welcoming Mr. Mike Larkin, who is our new technology director. He led a very engaging and informative conversation about the digital platforms that our district utilizes, along with apps and subscriptions available to our students. We're really excited about the new district website currently in development and look forward to continued collaboration with our families and our staff to understand and feel confident and comfortable navigating all of our technology platforms. This past Monday morning, Council had its first open council meeting of the year, open to all Jericho families. We were thrilled to have Mr. Greg Sloan, our curriculum associate for school counseling K through 12, moderate a fantastic panel discussion with guidance counselors from every building, from elementary, middle, and high school. They provided us with a really thoughtful and comprehensive overview of all the programs and services offered throughout the year, as well as what to expect at each season, as well as their critical role in fostering and welcoming a comfortable environment for all of our students. We really felt so fortunate to have great dialogue and understand the dedicated and compassionate professionals that are working with our kids every day. As always, we encourage if any parent has any question or concern about their child, please reach out to your counselor, your teacher, or your building principal. We're always here to help. All of our individual units were also very busy this month. Cantiad kicked off their November with an Autumn Fall Festival fundraiser on the 7th. Families enjoyed live music, delicious food, bubble tea, sweet treats, and a wonderful array of crafts and games. On November 10th, they also launched their annual food drive in partnership with Long Island Cares, which will run through November 24th. Jackson proudly celebrated the official completion of their auditorium with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. They also hosted a festive trunk or treat on Halloween, which brought together many rambunctious families and trick-or-treaters for a fun-filled and spirited afternoon. Ratner Seaman is currently running their Miss Chocolate and Pie Sale fundraiser. On November 11th, they held a successful skate-a-thon, and this month they are partnering with the high school to support NOSH. Please consider donating to help families in need during this holiday season. The middle school held a wonderful meeting for parents and faculty on November 6th, where attendees actually participated in a nest session. Just like the nest sessions we hear our students participate each month. It was a huge hit and inspiring to see the meaningful connections that these sessions fostered. I was there and it was really amazing to see how these sessions are facilitated and what each of us get to share in these really important and meaningful conversations. The high school continues to be hard at work planning for the senior party and organizing ongoing fundraisers. The PTSA has been actively collecting donations for NOSH, as I mentioned earlier. They also teamed up with SEPTA this month for an informative meeting where Dr. Kravitz and Mr. Sloan presented how to support students as they transition from high school into college. SEPTA, in addition to their joint meeting with the high school, hosted a fun and creative cookies and canvas paint night this past Monday, November 17th. And lastly, I wish all of our families a very happy, healthy, and restful Thanksgiving break. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Dr. Goenka. Now, I would love to turn it over have a nice evening. Anyone who wants to leave before Dr. Kravitz delivers his superintendent's report, please exit to your left or right, and thank you so much for joining us.
You say I can clear a room, so I feel really confident.
You said you get nervous in front of crowds, so I wanted to help you out.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'll be here all week, ladies and gentlemen. Next week will be a short celebration. Don't forget to try the veal, it's excellent.
You guys can go home.
Thank you. So first I will share the enrollment numbers in my report, just to remind everyone that last year at this time we had 3,308 students, and this year we have 3,179 students. And what did I want to talk about? I like these little things that we've been doing at the Board of Education meetings, slides, presentations. So they're informative to, everyone, just to make sure we're all speaking the same language. I think it's really important. What is curriculum? Well, curriculum is the standards that are mandated guidelines developed by the New York State Department of Education. They define what students learn, but not how teachers must teach in schools, and districts have flexibility to choose their own curriculum materials and teaching methods as long as they meet these standards. Why do they exist? They ensure equity and consistency in education across New York State. They prepare students for college, career, and civic life, set clear expectations for student learning and teacher instruction, and they guide the creation of our curriculum, the assessments, and teacher and professional development. What areas do they represent? The academic areas, English Language Arts, otherwise known as ELA, mathematics, science, social studies, arts, physical education, health and family and consumer sciences, languages other than English, and computer science and digital fluency. So resources, and sometimes people ask that question, well, what are the resources? Curriculum resources are any materials that support teaching and learning within a particular subject or grade level. They are designed to help educators deliver lessons aligned with the learning standards and objectives. Textbooks, workbooks, novels, articles, etc., videos, online programs, teacher guides, and lesson plans are all part of resources. We offer assessments. Assessments are tools or methods used to measure what students know, understand, and are able to do in relation to specific learning goals or curriculum standards. That's how we measure what we do every day to make sure your children are learning. There are formative assessments. You might hear this term. They are ongoing checks for understanding during the learning process. The purpose is to provide feedback to both the teachers and the students so we can adjust our instruction as needed. So examples of formative assessments: quizzes, class discussions, exit tickets, observations, draft essays, and practice tests. Summative assessments. These occur after instruction has taken place to evaluate what students have learned at the end of a unit, a term, or even a year. Purpose is to determine mastery of the content or achievement. Final exams, state exams, end of course projects, standardized assessments. They're all summative assessments. Diagnostic assessments used before instruction to identify strength and areas for growth. Benchmark or interim assessments used periodically throughout the year to monitor progress. And performance-based assessments where students demonstrate learning through projects, presentations, or portfolios. Assessments can include tests or assess to make sure the student has some knowledge and skills and concepts and attitudes, whether they're learning something. So, we took a book. If you give a mouse a cookie, what is the knowledge? What students are expected to know now? Okay, student skills. What students are expected to be able to do? Concepts. What's the big idea? You know, we teach very young students in elementary schools always that they're reading. You want them to start things such as predictions and what's going on in the story. It's the most important thing in the attitudes, where students develop that curiosity about what's happening in the story. Tell us what's going on. What is not curriculum? And this is, I left this side to be very simple and basic. When people come in and say, well, I don't like the curriculum, meaning I don't like this book. A book is not a curriculum, and a lesson is not a curriculum. It's very important when you're speaking to your teachers or you're speaking to an administrator. Please don't say, I don't like the book, therefore I don't like the curriculum. They're two different things, and I really want to stress that. That's the most important thing to understand.
So what do you call the book?
It's a resource. The book is a resource. The lesson is a resource. And it's actually, it has happened everywhere I've ever been, and I think if you speak to teachers, many times people say, I don't like the book, that means I don't like the curriculum. It's actually not the case. So, that is the presentation on curriculum. Looking forward to the next one. Any questions?
Couple of quick questions.
I wouldn't expect anything else.
For the four main topics that you talked about, ELA, math, history, and science.
Yes.
On the first four slides, how do we determine in elementary school the number of hours or minutes that is dedicated or allocated to each of those categories in the elementary school? I understand in the high school they get an English class, they get a science class, they get how do we determine that, or how do the teachers, or who determines how much time is spent in each of those core areas?
So I believe it's the ability for a teacher to determine what they're doing. You have to make sure you're assessing the students and studying language arts and mathematics in the classroom. But many times, in my experience as an educator, you want it to flow naturally, right? You want to be able to cross over. So if you're studying social studies, you should be learning some of the attributes of writing, which is in the language arts. So sometimes they flow and it's a combination. Exact minutes, I couldn't answer that question, but I can tell you that an elementary classroom should be just flowing all day long from one thing to the other. Because as you see with the advanced students in high school, a lot of the mathematic assessments that are given now are language-based. So you want to be able to flow with that whole concept.
What percentage of the curriculum is dictated by the state, and how much is it dictated by you and our curriculum associates?
So curriculum comes, first we start with our standards from the state of New York, and that flows into our curriculum. So all of your curriculum should match the standards, right? The state will tell you, you should be learning by the end of first grade this, and our curriculum has to match that. So we are following the state standards. That's what makes consistency across the state.
But then once you get into high school, we have classes that, in many cases, are more advanced than other schools. So clearly that's not meeting what the curriculum of New York State says. We've sort of said, no, we don't want our kids to understand just Regents biology. We want them to be able to do advanced placement biology. So who makes that decision about how far we take the curriculum?
So the standards are based on the class biology, right? The same way an AP classroom will follow the AP curriculum, but there are standards in biology that you should follow. That's why the United States has SCED codes. SCED codes make sure that anyone who's studying a class anywhere in the United States, it matches the same criteria for learning, if that makes sense. It's called a SCED code. I'm sure Mr. Sloan will tell you about that, because when in the back end of Power School, you will see what those codes are, and they match every other school in the United States.
I know you love them. So that I still don't understand, so who decides that AP biology should be part of the Jericho curriculum versus just New York State Regent standard curriculum? Or are you saying they're the same thing, it's just one's?
No, there's a different, so the curriculum, you might have an advanced curriculum with more resources available in AP biology than you would have in general biology. But in biology, the standards would say you have to meet these criteria when you're teaching biology.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I remember when Common Core was introduced and New York State gave modules of I guess you would call it a resource, but they gave specific lessons that people adopted. So does that still go on, or that's?
No, we didn't use those. We've never used those modules, so.
So we've always used our own resources and never, but there was a whole series of New York State modules.
New York City.
Oh, just the city?
Any other questions?
I'm glad to see none of our curriculum associates have any questions about curriculum, so it's a positive.
Well, thank you. I look forward to the next meeting.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kravitz. We love the slideshows. Before we get down to core business of the board, we're going to move into the opportunity for the, I guess, faculty or administrators to be heard, but also the public. I've cleared this with Ms. Vega. We're going to do them right before we get to right before we get to unfinished business. Yes, Ms. Vega, we're still good with that, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Opportunity for the public to be heard. You've heard it before. If you would like to make a comment or ask a question, please approach the microphone, tell us your name, and if you are representing a specific group, your affiliation. If you would like your statement to be included in our board minutes, you must hand a written copy of your remarks to our district clerk, Victor Manuel, before leaving tonight. As always, public discussion on matters relating to staff and students, during which their reputation, privacy, or right to due process or those of others could in some way be violated, is prohibited. As people rush their way to the mic, I'd like to just take a quick moment. As everyone knows, the Jericho School District is going through a bit of a transition. We have a new superintendent, we have several new senior administrators, we have other senior administrators who've only been in their position for a short time, and an educational landscape that is evolving quickly on many fronts. An important part of this transition is a thorough evaluation of how the district operates, including our policies, our procedures, our personnel, our reporting structures, our IT systems, our finances, and our communication channels. Some of these evaluations are quickly completed. Others are expected to take months. Some improvements or fixes are simple and quickly accomplished. Others are more complex and will take significant time. Just a quick rundown of some of the issues we have already discussed or started to address over the first 4.5 months of the Kravitz administration. We don't do that anymore. We don't count days, we're months. We're up to months. I know. We have increased communication by holding 2 public board meetings per month. We used to sometimes go 6+ weeks between meetings. That will never happen again. We initiated a focus on data analysis. Please note I said initiate. This is a work in progress, as much of this analysis is new to our district and our personnel, and it will take time to get everyone and everything up to speed and where we want it. We've started to include more informative presentations at board meetings to provide greater transparency and a more complete understanding understanding of the issues and explanations of what we're doing. We've begun the process of completely updating and rewriting our district policy manual. We've completed an organizational chart to clearly delineate our reporting structure. We've begun the process of writing the district's first 5-year strategic plan. We've exponentially increased our social media presence to better showcase what our students and staff are accomplishing. We've begun the process of completely redesigning the district website from scratch with the goal of making it more user-friendly and more informative. We're working on streamlining many of our IT operations and systems to provide cost and time savings and improve and simplify communication protocols. Your administration and board is doing all this while remaining focused on providing a top education to almost 3,200 students. We recognize that some of these issues could have and probably should have been addressed previously. However, we are only looking forward. We are moving as expeditiously and prudently as possible to address these and myriad others. We want to hear from you. We value your feedback on the things we are working on and the things you think we should be working on. Comments, concerns, complaints, compliments, criticisms, questions, and suggested corrections. We want them all. Whatever the delivery channel, whether you convey it through emails, texts, websites, newsletters, chat groups, phone calls, in-person conversations, letters to the editor, or social media, we like and appreciate it all. Our favorite, clearly, is when you come to meetings in person to tell us that we understand, that tell us in person, though that we understand is not always possible. With that, who has something to say, ask, or comment on? I heard the pin drop. We are going to go once, twice, 3 times. The floor is now closed for the opportunity for the public to be heard, unless anyone on the board has anything to say. Actually, before we do that, we're going to talk about one thing that did come to, I'm sure, several board members and everyone who reads Newsday, should you choose to read Newsday, saw. Back in September, early October, I informed the community that Newsday would soon be publishing the highest compensated educators in New York State, and I expected our just retired superintendent to be included. As with most lists, Jericho took the #1 spot in that survey also. And I just wanted to address some of the inquiries that have been posed to the board through various channels and even through Newsday. As reported by Newsday, the total compensation for our retired superintendent was $662,000 and change for the 24-25 fiscal school year. As pointed out in Newsday, much of that compensation was tied to retirement benefits that he received. Just to run through it very quickly so there is no confusion and people aren't scratching their heads. The base salary was approximately $289,000. There were sick days that were purchased for the specific year of 24-25, which equated to about $36,000. There was payment for unused vacation days of about $41,000. There was a payment for life insurance and also auto usage to true up a tax payment that he needed. Between the two of those, that was approximately $10,000. And then there was another $300,000 basically tied to accumulated unused sick days over a 30-year career. That was how you got to your 662. That was not the number he made simply for 12 months of work. That was money that was accumulated over 30 years. Some of the other questions that have been posed to the district is, well, how much is he costing us going forward? Going forward, the only thing that comes out of our operating budget is a requirement to pay for life insurance. I'm sorry, health insurance, health and dental insurance, nothing to do with life insurance. Again, that is perfectly clear in his contract should you want to read it.
That's also like every other.
As Mr. Manuel said, it's like every other retiree. For those of you who are interested in seeing the contract, the primary terms of the contract were were approved in 2011. Since then, the benefits package had not changed. Initially, the 2-3 contracts, 1998, 2005, 2011. You may look at that now and look to see what they talk about relative to other districts on Long Island. I think anyone who looks at that will now say some of those are anachronistic terms. Again, this was a contract that was most recently updated almost a decade and a half ago. We're not going to have that debate, but that's fine. As Ms. Citron said, yes, he did not take a raise since 2000 and what year? Was that the last raise? 2011, he still was the highest paid guy, a decade and a half later. So that basically sums that up. Thank you. So now, as Mr. Manuel is getting antsy, can we please move to the business of the board? The official business. New business, recommended motion. Be it resolved that the April 16th, 2026 meeting of the board is changed to April 13th, 2026. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Mrs. Varnoff. Second? Second, thank you, Mr. Jin. All in favor of moving? Hold on, just waiting for... I did forget the minutes, I promised you that. We're gonna hold this while Dr. Balachandar reads her calendar. We're gonna go back.
Okay.
Yes, no? Perfect. All in favor? Aye vote, our meeting has been moved. Going backwards, recommended motion. Be it resolved that the Board of Education make any necessary corrections and move the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting dated October 29th, 2025, and the regular meeting dated November 6th, 2025. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Mrs. Vartnoff. Second, Mr. Jin, thank you. Any discussion about the minutes from those two meetings? Thank you very much. All in favor? 5-0. Thank you very much. Now we shall move on to approval of schedules. We are going to, for purposes of this, remove Schedule G under, Schedule D, under, which one? Under High School Club Service Function Appointments. So Schedule G under Human Resource Board Schedule, Schedule G High School Club Service Function Appointments. We're going to remove that from this package. No, those are intramural activities. Bear with us for 1 second. No. So we are going to remove Schedule G, and with that schedule removed, unless any of my colleagues have any other concerns, we would like to move all the schedules together. So from Schedule little I1 through Schedule KK, the entire package, excluding Schedule G under Human Resources for club advisor appointments. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Mrs. Vartnoff. I believe that was Dr. Balachandar was giving me a second. Thank you, Dr. Balachandar. Any discussion? Mr. Manuel, I thank you. I had sent you a number of questions. I believe Mr. Jin had sent you a number of questions about specific payments. And those were all answered very clearly. Anyone has any interest in those, please feel free, send me an email. Nothing, then all in favor of approving all the schedules absent Schedule G on club appointments? Dr. Balachandar, are you with us? We are there. 5-0. We are so good tonight. Look at that. Still under that. Is that clock right?
Yes.
Really? Jeez. You're going to be home for the football game. We look forward to seeing many of you and others at our next meeting on Thursday, December 11th. The highlight of that meeting will be a presentation on New York State's recently adopted, quote, Portrait of a Graduate, close quote. For those of you not familiar with this term or topic, the geniuses on the Board of Regents and at State Ed have developed a, quote, unifying vision of what it means to be a graduate in New York State and describes the essential skills and dispositions that all students should develop to be successful in college, careers, and civil life, close quote. It is part of the 2024 New York Inspires, quote, plan to transform education in New York State, close quote. That is the idea that includes the elimination of many Regents exams. I expect we will all learn a lot that evening, and I highly recommend you try to attend or at least listen, particularly if you have a student currently in elementary school. We will be back in the middle school library for that meeting. Do any of my colleagues have anything to add before we leave?
Yes, I just wanted to say happy and healthy Thanksgiving to everyone sitting here, watching at home, the entire community. One thing that I'm super thankful for is living in this wonderful community surrounded by the students, the parents, the community, everyone that participates and makes this school and the surrounding areas where we live so amazing. So I'm very thankful. Thank you. Wishing you guys all a happy and healthy Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Mr. Gibb. Thank you, Mrs. Vardnoff. All in favor of adjourning? Have a lovely evening.